Hi Interior, I'm Ellie Robertson, a creative producer and writer. Welcome to my house. So I've lived here for about 3 years. We're in Kensal Rise. It's not too far from where I grew up. I grew up in Ladbroke Grove, and I never take for granted how amazing it is being 10 minutes away from my mum. Community of Kensal Rise is a really, really lovely one. I know everyone says this, but it really does feel like a village. This is the kitchen slash dining slash living area. We love to host, so having a ginormous dining table was always on my wish list. I think the most we've ever got around this table is 20. These chairs I bought on Vinteria. I grew up with similar ones at home. They're church chairs. I love these little pockets, which were for keeping Bibles in originally, but now I have to check them quite regularly for half-eaten food. My toddler likes to hide bananas in the pockets or dinosaurs. I love this piece here. It's a piece of Staffordshire china, I think probably roughly 18th century, maybe early 19th, but I'm no expert. And it was a wedding gift, so the couple that gave us kindly had our names painted onto it and then our wedding date on the back. So I quite like it. I like a touch of kitsch in my house. This lamp was hand painted by my godmother. She sells them, they're really beautiful. Her name's Elizabeth Morongan, and it was a wedding gift, so it has mine and my husband's initials painted at the top. I love this photograph. It's of Vivienne Westwood from a shoot that I produced when I was at British Vogue. We asked a number of designers and influential people in the fashion industry to go back to the scene of their first jobs. And Vivienne Westwood was a teacher when she first moved to London. And coincidentally, I didn't live here at the time, but the school that she worked at and the school that this photo is taken is at the end of this road. So when I moved here, I knew I had to have this photo on the wall. This is my walk-in wardrobe, which was originally a bedroom, but I was pretty insistent on the need for a walk-in wardrobe. The wardrobes were painted by my best friend, who's a really talented artist called Molly Morongan, and it's just really special to me that I have just work by her firstly, but that I get to kind of interact with on a daily basis. It feels really special. So in the hallway there's a number of photographs from other shoots I produced, and then this is actually my dad shot for a Paul Smith campaign, I'd say probably in the late 90s, so I love this photograph. This table I actually found on the street. So if you can't find what you're looking for on Vinteria, my next point of advice would be scour the streets of Notting Hill. You'll find some gems. This is probably my prized possession. After my husband and I got married, I was really flattered to be asked to write about the wedding for British Vogue, and the piece essentially turned into less about the wedding and more of an ode to Richard Curtis and my obsession with him and his films. And there were a lot of details on the wedding day that were inspired by his films. And after the piece was published, his wife Emma Freud unbelievably got in contact with me to say that she had read the piece, and so wildly, so had Richard, and that he had something he wanted to send me, which was this. It's a cutting, an original cutting from Love Actually, from the scene where Andrew Lincoln's character is holding up the signs outside Keira Knightley's house, with a note saying, "For Ellie, with love actually," from Richard. So yeah, it's my prized possession, and most definitely what I would save if the house was on fire. I love it so much. I'm a big fan of colour, hence the two painted doorways. I just think it injects, just some colour and brightness to an otherwise quite dark corridor. I always knew I wanted a pink bathroom, think that was probably the easiest design decision that I made. I love this pink. I first spotted it in Sienna Miller's kitchen via Architectural Digest, and it's called Madeleines by Francesca's Paints. And I love it because it's got a kind of chalky feel to it. It's really nice, and I think it goes quite well with the red of the door. This is my son Milo's room. This toy box that was mine growing up, so I always really wanted it to be in Milo's room, and from there I thought it might be nice to match the woodwork vaguely to the blue of the toy box and the ceiling rose as well. I think that's a nice detail. These New Yorker covers are all by one female illustrator. I think she's Hungarian, but I love her work. This TP is a fairly new addition to the room and a big hit, not just with Milo, but also with the cats, who you'd normally find one of them sleeping in there, but yeah, there we go. There you go. I commissioned an embroidery artist that I found on Instagram. She makes all kind of funny slogans. The one that inspired this one just said Lager Shandy. And then she does one that says pesto pasta, but I really wanted Milo's full name. This is our bedroom. We recently had the fireplace retiled. I love these tiles. We got them sent from Morocco. I think the tiler found them an absolute nightmare to work with because they're really uneven, but I love the kind of mismatched effect that they have. This desk I actually bought on Vinteria. I love it. This is where I work most days when I'm not in the office. This office chair I stole from my dad. He doesn't know that, but I guess he will now. He used to refer to it as his captain's chair. I'm not sure if that's a technical term or just a dadism, but I still call it my captain's chair now. This is another piece that I bought before we moved in. I think the seller said it was roughly 1960s. Obviously wildly inefficient as a privacy screen, but I think it's very pretty. Another vintage film poster. I particularly like the placement of this one, being as it is a film about a foursome. Either you get the joke or you think I'm being incredibly salacious. So we decided to go for a curtain instead of a door. We felt like building in a door might take up too much of the room space, and I quite liked the open plan nature of the flat and having the bedroom as a continuation of that. I also think the fabric, I love this fabric, softens the room a bit. And there's something incredibly satisfying, I think, about this curved curtain pole.